Okay, Shirley.
Oh, hi. Yes, I had, back on January 17 of 2022, a very dear and special, kind and compassionate friend who passed away. And this friend had been diagnosed with cancer, and the doctor had told them that they had 6 months to live. And this friend did not want to take any kind of chemo or radiation. He was a very smart, intelligent man. So he decided to seek out herbs and alkaline water and exercise and air. And he loved the beach, and he loved to be around water, and he loved to walk. This sustained him from the 6 months diagnosed to 18 months. He almost lived 2 years before his passing. Just doing herbal, alkaline water, changing his diet, plenty of air, being around water, the sea, and walking.
Okay.
He continued to work on his job 5 days a week. He had an amazing attitude. One I don't think I would have had.
Okay.
But he always believed in God. He had been in a Baptist church, and then he got baptized in a Seventh-day Adventist church, and he was a deacon of the church. But later on in life, he stopped attending church. So, sometimes church folks can rub you the wrong way, and some people just stop completely going. But I know I heard from him all the time talking about God. For Jesus Christ, he had another way of thinking. But this man was my confidant. He was someone we spent hours on the phone every week. We shared each other's family. We had dinners all through every holiday. He loved to travel. He went to Africa so many times and took pictures, and he loved sharing it and talking about that experience. As a matter of fact, he wanted to move to Africa. And that last trip from Africa, that's when he found out about the cancer. So he still always talked about and dreamed living in Africa, but he never made it there. But I was so glad he had the opportunity to go there as many times he did.
Yes.
So, him that year of 2021, in December, he couldn't attend the Christmas dinner that I had at my daughter's house, so I always make sure he have food.
Okay.
So I took him some food. After he had went walking over at Cecil Chavez Park in Berkeley, he loved that place and being around the water and setting up. So I delivered the food to him. He was so grateful. He posted it, pictures of the food. He said, all this food is going to take me 2 weeks to eat because his appetite had diminished. And after that, 3 days later, he ended up into the hospital. And he would call me and say they want to do these tests and do that test. And of course, he always gave them a hard time. And so he finally did the test, and he came home that Friday. So that Friday night, he called me and said the doctor called and gave him the test results saying that the cancer had completely spread and that they had put him on hospice or palliative care. So he asked me, could he give his niece in Texas my phone number? I said, sure. And as soon as he had told me that, I got his niece's phone number as well. I called her, and I started thinking about that we need to do something to make sure the niece is taken care of and make sure everything is handled. So the niece was coming that Sunday, flying in from Texas. I made sure that the niece had the power of attorney. I made sure that I picked her up and took her to her uncle's house, made sure that anything she needed, I was there for her. So that niece came, his favorite niece, but he loved all his nieces. He loved his family. He had 2 sisters. He had 3 sisters. One sister he was very close and passed on early. And this niece was the daughter of that sister. And so another niece came out and a nephew came out. And they stayed with him and tried to take care of him. And he lasted up until a week. I came over on a Friday and brought another friend that we used to have dinner with, and she came and he was just seeing this 6'4" man laying in the bed and can't move, but he did talk, not that much that Friday, and so my friend that came with me prayed with him, and it's like, this is really real. It's happening, right? So the next day, my daughter, who was very, very fond of him ever since she was a child, and he was so much fun of my daughter. He was always interested in what she was doing, always calling on her, checking on her. Every birthday, every Father's Day, we taking him out, celebrating him, honoring him, because he was such a loving, kind person. Never would forget your birthday, send you a card, had amazing penmanship, and for as writing, he could do some kind of writing. He should have been a comedian because he knew how to tell jokes, he knew how to do poems, he knew how to do it all. So we went over and my daughter came in the room, gave him a hug. He was so happy to see her. And so my daughter was getting married that year, the next year. But she'd already been married, so this is going to be her second marriage. So it's going to be a wedding where she invites people, former people. And he looking forward to coming because he worked on Friday and she was having his wedding on Friday just to make sure he'd be there. So he was so excited about that. So he told her that day, he said, I wish you well on your wedding. I really do. That day we spent so much time with him, and the whole time we was there, he's telling jokes, cracking us up, and we laughing like, good old time. But I can see that he was very weak. I could see that he could barely move, but he had a strong voice. His mind was intact, and we just had such a good time that day. And it's like, this can't be real. But it was real. And so, he talked about how much he loved his son, his newfound daughter that he found out. He loved her, all his grandkids, his family. He was a family man.
Okay.
Very, very family man. So, to watch all of that and to know what he was going through, never once complained about pain. Never once. He was a man, and he was going to say, I'm a strong man. I'm going to do all I can to beat this. So I don't know if he had took the chemo, the radiation, he would have lasted 18 months. That's the big question. Probably not. But, he wanted to live his life the way he wanted to.
Okay.
Unapologetic.
Okay.
Very much so. So I think about all the great time we had. Oh, sure, we agreed to disagree. Who wouldn't on this earth? But we still love each other. We still had respect for one another. A lot of people didn't understand him. They thought maybe he was so far-fetched in his thinking, whatever. That was his thinking.
He was an independent thinker.
He was very independent. And I wasn't bringing any kind of judgment upon him because I know within him he had a kind heart.
Yes.
Very kind heart. So we visited that day, and then after we visited, I told him I love him. He told me he loved me. My daughter told me she loved him. And then we went out sat in the living room with his nieces and his nephew. And then my daughter started crying, and all of a sudden we hear this person in the other room using all the strength in his body call my daughter to come in the room. And she jumped up real quick and went into the room, and he said, you know what? Anything in this house you want, you can have it. You can have it. And she said, okay, well, I'm just going to get some pictures. This man was a photographer. He had so many pictures of good time, and so many pictures for us, so many pictures of celebrities, of beaches, oceans, and where he traveled and all, so many. So my daughter gathered some pictures, and we talked to the nieces and the nephew, and we left. So that's on a Saturday. So that Sunday, he was waiting for his best friend from Texas to drive. He was driving that Saturday, and his favorite cousin to come from Texas. So I talked to the niece, and the niece said, he kept saying, they better hurry up, they better hurry up. And they came in town, but they wanted to rest before they came over to visit. Let me tell you something, this man knew he was gonna pass. Whatever he did, he saved every day until those individuals came to visit. Until they had that wonderful experience. And after they left, he let it go.
Oh, yes.
He let it go. And then the niece tell me it was early that Monday morning. They went in there to change him, his shirt, and they raised him up. And then all of a sudden, he kind of rolled his eyes back, kind of scared them. And they laid him back. And hours later, early that Monday morning,
Beautiful, beautiful.
she called me, and I was like, I think of him every day.
That's beautiful. Thank you, Shirley, for sharing that story with us. Now, we had made an agreement of mentioning no name, but this guy, as Shirley stated, he was wonderful. He was an independent thinker. He used to post things on the Facebook that some people, found disparaging or thought it was, what's the defensive word?
Antichrist.
Yeah, Antichrist. He thought all of that, but everything he said was true. He didn't speak any lies. And Larry was the kind of guy that you could not agree or disagree with. But he was absolutely wonderful. He had a kind heart, and he was a warrior out of Texas. He also I don't know if he had some of that black Indian in him, but he, that's what he made me think of. This was a beautiful brother, and he has joined the ancestors, and therefore his name has to be mentioned. His name, because we did poetry together here in the San Francisco Bay Area, and we did some shows together. His name is Larry Lucky. Larry Lucky was a great person. And I just want to thank Shirley for sharing her story about him knowing his time of departure. He gave his best friend and his cousin time to arrive here. They had their conversations, laughed, joked, did all of those things. And then when they left, and he had waited for them to get there, then he gave up his soul. Love it. So thank you for taking the time out to listen to us today. Sprondor Aja Ford, and we'll see you next time. Hear your phenomenal experience. Thank you. Bye.